Hello and welcome back to the Stronghold. I'm the Magi, and well, there's two new bundles on Arena, and since they're basically unannounced release, I have been inundated with questions about these. So today we are going to answer the two most common questions. Are these a good value, and who are these really for? But before we get into all that, just a quick reminder that the Stronghold is producing content for you across a number of platforms. And Patreon has recently introduced an option where you can follow our content there without the need for any financial commitment. So even if you aren't ready to support the Stronghold is better positioned to support you. So you never miss out on a thing. Now, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, right. Alright, so let's start this conversation with some basic definitions. Arena is a prime example of what we refer to as a free-to-play game model. And as the name would seem contradictorily, 50% of all digital game revenue actually comes from free-to-play games. And that is despite the fact that 95% or more of players never make a cash purchase of any sort. And in fact, we are talking about less than 4% of players on a typical free-to-play game. Interestingly, those purchases range in a $1 to $5 range more often than not. Often never exceeding the game's minimum purchase amount for Arena. That happens to be $5. Very interestingly here, and somewhat bucking the digital gaming trend, more than half of all purchasers on free-to-play games are, in fact, women. Once you move beyond that, you get into folks that are making more than a one-time purchase or maybe even doing some sort of recurring budgetary purchase plan. You get to what we refer to as whales within a free-to-play community. This is typically here we are talking about 1/4 of 1% of all participants in free-to-play model games. Again, they generate more than 50% of revenue for all digital gaming. And here we see the expected trend that the overwhelming majority of these players are men. So for a free-to-play player or a typical version thereof, are these a good value? Well, to put it very simply, no, they aren't. In simplest terms, wildcards almost never represent a good free-to-play value. Beyond that, the purchase of wildcards for a free-to-play mindset is generally not beneficial. Following my own free-to-play plan, not only can you collect all of the lower rarity cards every season, but you get 150 plus higher rarity cards and easily 20 plus wild cards with no cash outlay whatsoever. So shelling out for additional wild cards probably means that you're not quite free to play, that maybe you are more of a limited budget player. Beyond that, speaking of a limited, purchasing premium draft environment access is, again, not a very free-to-play style of thing, and again, a good indication that you are, in fact, more of a limited budget player. If we were to run a comparison to the Planeswalker IE draft bundle for $50 US, we could take that same $50, just buy gems, and get 9,200 gems. The package comes with 6,500 gems, so the net difference there is 2,700. And when we divide that by the 4 premium draft tokens, we see that our net cost for each of those tokens is 675 gems. However, if you are following the Stronghold's free-to-play plan, you would know that our average opportunity cost on those premium draft tokens is actually only 625 gems. Again, these bundles are just not really designed for those that are otherwise free-to-play players. So given that review, one might easily ask, are there any such thing as a good bundle from a free-to-play perspective? And the answer is actually yes. Both the Welcome Bundle at $5 US and the Adventurer Bundle at $15 US represent good values when compared to either free-to-play alternatives or cash equivalent alternatives. I highly recommend these bundles. If you haven't done so already, definitely look into these. I've done videos on them in the past. But to all the little Timmies out there that got $20 from their great Aunt Gertrude in their birthday card on their 12th birthday, this is a great place to spend your 20 bucks on Arena. Alright, so we are done talking about these from a free-to-play player's perspective. Moving forward, we are simply going to be looking at this Wu-Tang style. Because cash rules everything around me, this is for those players that either periodically or routinely spend real-world money on the game. And hey, for the record, there is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. You should play the game the way you can and the way you want to. So are these bundles a good value for the cash and carry cream customers on Arena? Simply put, yes. And let's take a look at the details and see exactly why that is. When it comes to the Spark, aka Wildcard Bundle that has recently been added, really just a straight up dollar for dollar comparison is about all you need to see the value. The Spark Bundle is $25 US, comes with 4 Mythic and 4 Gold wildcards, some cosmetics, and 1,500 gems. To get the same amount of wildcards would cost you $30 US. So not only are you picking up a $5 cash on the barrel discount up front, but you are essentially picking up 1,500 free gems. That's about a $10 US value if memory serves correctly, plus a couple of free cosmetics. So yes, if you are a purchaser of wildcards on any kind of ongoing basis, this Spark Bundle represents a fantastic value. When we take a look at the Planeswalker, aka the Draft Bundle, we already did the math a few minutes ago and worked it out that it's about 675 gems per draft as a net cost there. And when you compare that to the 1,500 gem cost normally for a premier draft, that's about a 55% cash discount, and that is more than significant. So again, if you are a person that is routinely buying gems for the purposes of doing premier draft, this is a significant savings. Particularly for those that are in the habit and level of play of often going infinite with their drafts, this is going to lower your overall cost pretty significantly, at least for a short period of time. And I say for a short period of time because this fits into a free-to-play marketing strategy. They want to give you significant savings up front. They provide starters, you get cheap power-ups, which is exactly what you're seeing here, because they want it to be easy at first, and then when it becomes more challenging, you're already in the habit of supplementing the game through purchases. And hey, settle down there. This is all reasonably harmless and pretty acceptable marketing practices that we see not only in free-to-play games, but really all over the place. However, if you are a person or you have a person in your life that has impulse control issues or addiction issues, just be aware that free-to-play games or purchase mentalities can be as psychologically addictive as many substances. So these bundles, just like so many things that we discuss economically within this game, are really an issue of perspective. So you need to start by understanding yourself as a player and then making the decisions that fit well within that model and fit your needs. And before we go, I want to take just a moment to thank my totally awesome patrons for supporting me and allowing me to apply my passion into a community. And of course, before we go, I've got some suggestions for your next step.